G'day, welcome to Oly35mm, user-based, quasi-empirical, cheap and cheerful videos on Olympus 35mm cameras. And the 35mm camera I'd like to share with you today is the Olympus Ace. And I wanted to talk about that and its older brother, its younger brother I should say, the Olympus Ace E, which had an electronic uncoupled meter in their selenium cell here and a readout dial there, to which you would then transfer the readings onto the lens on the front. So that was the AC, also known as the Sears Tower 19. Sears put their name on a few things, on a few different cameras, and the Olympus Ace E was one of them. However, this is the Olympus Ace, and the reason why I wanted to share it with you is it's rather unusual in the fact that it and its brother were the only Olympus rangefinders to ever have interchangeable lenses. What? Interchangeable lenses, I hear you say. Yes, indeed. It was a special little bayonet mount. And if I just press in the actual button there, and I'll see if I can do this while I'm facing the camera, and then twist it anti-clockwise 90 degrees, off comes the lens. And just in reverse, of course, to get it back on again. Quite amazing. 3 little lenses came out with it, at least with the Ace anyway. That was the 45 f2.8, which you can see here, the 35mm f2.8, and the 80mm f5.6, all 5-element lenses. There was a 4th lens that came out sometime after the AC came out, and that was an 80mm f4. I don't know anything more about it than that. Now, this came out in 1958, ran through to 1960. The AC came out in 1959 and went through to 1961, so they were a very short run. Rather interesting camera. Unfortunately, this one's not in the condition that I would have liked, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't even think I was going to get hold of one of these during the Oly35 year, so I'm very lucky to have it even in this condition, and it is in working condition. I have run a single roll of film through this, and I've been reasonably impressed by the results. Unfortunately, there is some corrosion on the top and also on the front, and on the lens mount itself it's got some sort of goo on there, I don't quite know, and unfortunately the rangefinder mechanism no longer works. Now I don't think I'll bother getting this one fixed. It's not that interesting. It is a nice little camera, and I do really like that lens a lot, but I don't think I'll spend the money to get it repaired. I haven't seen too many of these around, so I'm not too sure what they will actually set you back to actually pick one up, and I've certainly not seen any other lenses around bar the 45mm, so they must be reasonably rare. It had shutter speeds 1 through to 500th of a second. In fact, I'll see if I can show you there. That is 1 through to 500th, and there was also a B setting as well. Hopefully you can see that on there. The apertures range from 2.8, and I hope you can see those sitting there, 2.8 through to what was it, f16, 2.8 to 16. Hopefully you can see those there as well. So the front ring was the aperture. The middle ring was focusing, 2.5 feet through to infinity, and B 1 second through to 500th of a second. There is a, oh goodness knows, 10-second self timer sitting there on the lens as well, and the shutter assembly is actually in that lens mount section itself. So be very careful when you take the lens off. There is no body cap as such, so make sure that you don't damage that shutter if you are indeed going to leave it off for any amount of time. There is an indicator on the top that runs from 32 ISO or 32 ASA as it was in the old money, 32 ISO through to 400 ISO to let you know what sort of film you've got in there. There is a back release by just pulling up that little lever there. That's what it looks like inside and the back. Just a tongue and groove. There is a groove there, sitting there. We put the tongue of the film in, make sure that they're onto the sprockets, and off you go. On the bottom is a tripod screw and also a rewind button. The viewfinder itself has the rangefinder window, obviously in the center, but it actually has the 3 marks for the 35, 45, and 80mm lenses. So that's very handy as well. The viewfinder is reasonably bright. I noticed. Unfortunately, I couldn't tell you what the rangefinder was like because mine doesn't work. But it was reasonably easy to use. I just used a handheld light meter and took my exposure readings from there. There's really not a lot more to tell you about the ACE and the AC. There may be more to learn, but this is certainly all I know about it. So I thought I'd share that with you, something a little bit different, a little bit fun to use, not terribly exciting by any standards, but certainly something a little bit different to the usual run of the reviews that I do. So thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye.